You're listening to The Scrimmage with Daniel Hargrove and Justin Domashevitz.
Easter, everybody. Good afternoon, morning, evening, night, all out of order here. But I hope that you had a wonderful, socially distanced Easter celebration, as that's what I had. But you know what? Welcome to The Scrimmage.
That's my co-host, Daniel Hargrove. I'm Justin Domashevitz. We got a great show for you today. With a lack of sports, we're going to talk about cool stuff like hot yoga. We're going to talk about Wasps. We're going to talk about Star Wars. And maybe we'll talk about a horse shooting contest. No, that's not shooting horses, but basketball shooting where you play horse.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense. We're also going to talk about how Justin is going to try and stump me. Actually, I completely spaced on what I was going to say there. But, you know, lots of good stuff to talk about.
We flustered Daniel.
I've been so flustered. You guys faked me out so good earlier. So before I make myself a fool so much more, I'm just going to get things going with the 2-minute drill.
Brought to you by State Farm agent Mark Rossetti.
It's not just a home or a car, it's the 6 months you save to get your Ultra HD flat screen just in time for football season. It's the overtime you worked for that third car so that your team can drive themselves to practice. While other insurance companies just see them as a bundle or a combo, State Farm agent Mark Rossetti sees your home and car as things you work really hard for. Mark understands what your things really mean to you and is here to help you give them the protection they deserve. Visit Mark Rossetti at 613 Oak Street in Aberdeen for your home and auto insurance today.
Let's go, huddle up! Gotta hurry. Hey, 2-minute situation, 44 seconds, hand the ball to the ref. Gonna do it right. 3 jet Buckeye on 1, 3.
The 2-minute drill starts now.
Despite the cancellation of the UFC's upcoming event, Commissioner Dana White says the Fight Island is going to happen and that MMA will be the first sport back. Justin, is White delusional, or is there a chance that Fight Island could still happen in the future? Also, I'm pretty sure this has to be a plot to some post-apocalyptic movie where a guy has people fight on some island somewhere.
Well, I'm not sure about it being post-apocalyptic, but it doesn't seem far-fetched to me that MMA could be the first sport back. And also, the Fight Island thing, like, there's a lot of infrastructure to set up, but if they take enough months to get ready to actually have an island where you have a certain amount of people that's quarantined together. The other thing is, international people couldn't come to the continental U.S., so this is the only way for him to potentially get his international fighters to somewhere to fight against each other. I do think there's a chance that MMA could be the first sport back. Even though ESPN and Disney canceled this event, I do think there's still a chance that Fight Island could happen somewhere in the not-too-distant future. Indiana Pacers big man Miles Turner said on CJ McCollum's Pull-Up podcast that he attends a hot yoga class which takes place in a room that contains wasps. Daniel, would you be interested in participating in that class with Turner?
Why are the wasps there? Why the wasps?
It helps them focus on their poses and not focus on anything outside of it.
Really?
No,
that helps?
That would help me. That would help me focus on the wasps.
It's all about.
I don't want to attend this class. I don't want wasps. No. No to the wasps. He can get out of here. Former Jets and Bills head coach Rex Ryan said last week that he would have won a trophy case full of Lombardis if he had coached a quarterback as good as Tom Brady. I'm sorry, Rex. You could have had Joe Montana and Tom Brady put together. It wasn't going to happen. Anyway, Justin, how many Lombardi trophies do you think Rex would have won with Brady?
A trophy case full of Lombardis is a bit of an overstatement. But is it crazy to think that a guy who took a Jets team quarterbacked by Mark Sanchez to the AFC Championship game 2 years in a row could have won maybe a Super Bowl or two. He continuously had defenses that were either tops in the league or ranked high in the league. He had running attacks that were ranked high in the league. I know that he's overstating here, and he even said something like, well, give Bill Belichick Geno Smith and see how he does. Well, I think Bill Belichick probably would have been fine.
A trophy
with
case
Geno
full
Smith.
of Lombardis.
Yeah, but
it doesn't matter.
It's
who's
not
the
unreasonable to say that
if
Rex
he's
Ryan
cheating.
could have won a Lombardi or two if he had an all-time great quarterback.
Only if he started cheating like Belichick does.
Everybody
He
cheats.
probably should have. He probably should have picked one in the first place instead of going with Mark Sanchez. That's the problem here, Rex. That was your choice.
Saturday was the anniversary of Ichiro's Star Wars throw, which is called that because of this call by Dave Niehaus.
Terrence Long is lead over at first. Here comes a 3-2 pitch on the way. Swung on and a ground ball punched into right field for a base hit. So heading to third base is Long. The throw to third base, and they've got him nailed at third base on a tremendous throw by Ichiro. I'm here to tell you that Ichiro threw something out of Star Wars down there at third base. He fired a shot about 3 feet off the ground all the way on the fly to David Bell, and Terrence Long was DOA.
Daniel, which is better, the throw by Ichiro or Dave's call of the play?
You know what? I have seen amazing throws. I have heard amazing calls, but I'm not sure if I've heard a call like that. That is just absolutely amazing. I love the throw by Ichiro. It was ridiculous. Somebody said that it had to have been CGI because it was just so ridiculously out of this world. And yet that call brings shivers to me just hearing the late, great Dave Niehaus make that call. And even though it was just some random game in April, that gave me shivers to hear him call that. It wasn't even like it was a big-time moment or anything, and that's how good he was. Probably because he had to call games for the entirety of the Mariners' losing history, and he just got excited when something exciting happened. But yeah, that was absolutely one of the best calls. Oh, I got cut off. Oh no!
You got buzzed.
Sorry,
I was gushing about.
I thought you were done. My bad.
Two things. One, when you say the Mariners losing history, you're just talking about most of their history. Also, I was the one who said it looked like something out of CGI because I watched that when you posted it, Daniel, when you posted it to Facebook. I watched it like 10 times because it didn't make sense to me how the ball traveled the way that it did to get where it did in the amount of time that it did. And in the amount of times that I watched it, like my eyes started playing tricks on me and I was like, that's not the real ball. Like the way it seems like there's lapses in time at certain points when the ball is traveling through the air. Like it's in one spot and then all of a sudden in a nanosecond, it's 10 feet ahead. Like it's the craziest thing. It tripped me out watching that play because that throw from right field to third base and on the video that you posted, there's an angle that shows really clearly where the runner was when Ichiro releases the ball. He's like halfway to third base already. It is insane. That throw is absolutely insane.
So are you going with the throw then over the call?
I'm going with the throw. The call's really cool. It's like it's gimmicky to me. Like I know that was organic for him. That's something out of Star Wars.
And that's the best thing to me is he couldn't have had that planned.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
That's amazing.
It's a great call, but that is legitimately one of the greatest throws I've ever seen, to the point that I felt like they staged it. There were no real fans there, only robots. It was like the moon landing. They staged that throw because it's so unreal, it's ridiculous. If you haven't seen it, go to our Facebook page. Daniel posted this, which is better, the throw or the call. The call is incredible, and obviously the late, great Dave Niehaus is one of the greatest of all time. he's a big part of all of our childhoods and teenage years listening to him call the Mariners games. So that call is amazing, but to me, it's the throw.
And that's why it's such a good question, because either is amazing, and you can make the case for either of them so well. It is, yeah, I love it. I've watched it at least 10 times since I saw it pop up.
The crazy
I'd also
thing,
like to
that was the 2-minute drill brought to you by State Farm agent Mark Rossetti. Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel, you also mentioned with Mark Sanchez and Rex Ryan that Rex Ryan was the one who drafted Mark Sanchez. He really liked Mark Sanchez when they drafted him, and also they traded up to pick Mark Sanchez in the 5 overall spot. So
Yes.
It is interesting that while I'm sitting there making excuses for Rex Ryan about how he didn't have a great quarterback, well, he was the one who not only wanted that quarterback, but wanted him so badly they traded up to get him. And then he was by far the biggest Mark Sanchez apologist through everything. So
Do you remember what year that was?
No.
I'm just going to put this out there. A really good coach could have won a Super Bowl with Mark Sanchez.
Have you watched Mark Sanchez play?
Yeah.
He has the butt fumble, for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
He has the butt fumble, but it's worse than that. So I have a buddy that I used to work with that's a major Jets fan. Andrew, you probably know him as well. We've talked a lot about football, and while Mark Sanchez was playing, we talked about football a lot. And so every time Mark Sanchez made a throw that made me throw up in my mouth a little bit, I would text him. Like literally at least a dozen times, I texted him, that throw made me throw up in my mouth a little bit.
I gotta say, I'm looking through this draft, and quarterbacks were sparse that year.
I don't want that to be taken as an endorsement of Mark Sanchez. It is a condemnation of Rex Ryan. And he had a team that was good enough to... Didn't Mark Sanchez go to 2 AFC championships in a row?
Yeah, with Rex Ryan at the Jets.
Right. A good coach would have been able to pull a Super Bowl out of that. Top coach.
Your point is well taken, and I did a little bit of research on this one beforehand, which is how I knew they traded up to get him in the 5th spot. But also the first year that the Jets made it to the AFC Championship game, they had the number 1 ranked defense and the number 1 ranked rushing game in the NFL. So literally their only weakness was this quarterback he was a rookie at that time. So it wasn't like, the expectation for him was that high. But they were basically hoping that he wouldn't screw it up at that point. And they beat the Patriots that year as well. And I believe the Patriots were the 1 seed in the playoffs when they beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm looking through this. So the number 1 pick in the draft that year was it was Matt Stafford. So
Stat Padford.
Yeah, so can you guys still hear me? My computer yelled at me for some reason.
Yeah,
okay.
Good.
Matt Stafford was the number 1 pick. Mark Sanchez was number 5 overall, like you mentioned. The next quarterback taken was Josh Freeman by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oof.
So not exactly a quarterback-heavy draft, because then you go a long way before you get to Pat White.
White.
With the Dolphins, and then another long way before you get down to, where'd he go? There he is, Stephen McGee with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
There's a lot of all-stars in here, huh?
I think Pat White was the quarterback for the Texas Longhorns.
That sounds accurate. I didn't look, and I'm all the way down the list now. Rhett Bomar, which sounds like it should have been Brett Romar, but apparently he has the name that actually sounds backwards. He was drafted to the Giants. There's the sparsity of quarterbacks in this draft is amazing.
What year?
Tom Brandstetter. Keith Knoll. I saw Curtis Painter in here somewhere. Like, maybe they should have waited another year to draft a quarterback, because this year was miserable.
Oh, wait, but Josh Freeman was in that. I mean, that guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's made a lot of
Pat
money.
White played for West Virginia, Justin.
Oh, never mind. I was wrong.
All right, enough of that terrible draft in 2009. Puke.